I think all of us, have been sitting with a lot today, maybe even yesterday, over the weekend, coming up to today. Almost feels like a different world, a different time. It's like COVID, when COVID ended, and then kind of realized what COVID was, or when COVID began even, and realized pre-COVID world, when COVID was really active and happening. We move into these different worlds, and we're in a world now, the season of the world, the chapter of history that we're living right now. And it's nice to be able to step out of that for a moment and just become self-conscious, become aware, take a moment to reflect on what is happening. What is happening? There's something actively happening. Destiny is happening. The stories are being told that are written in our books, that will be demonstrated, that will be exposed. Inshallah, for us, just shared lovingly our stories on the Day of Judgment. Everything's been written and it's playing out in real time. And we can get so saturated in the moment that it's overwhelming to slow down, to pause. So we just keep going. But these are moments that are really important that we offer ourselves grace to slow down, to connect with one another, to remember Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and to sense make the events that are unfolding and the emotions that are coming up inside of us, these powerful currents of energy within us, of life force, of vitality, of responsiveness, of sensitivity, of receptivity. We're sensitive beings. And a lot of what's happening has been affecting us, whether in a gross and obvious way or just in a subtle way, and maybe in gradations in between. Maybe we have good days, maybe we have bad days. Maybe sometimes we kind of forget what's going on. Some days we're like utterly engulfed in it. Regardless, these are moments, inshallah ta'ala, of mercy, of healing for all of us to slow down and to connect. And, we were speaking with one of our teachers last Jum'ah, in fact, and there was a beautiful question that was offered by one of the sisters in the group, in the gathering, about grief rituals. How do we, as Muslims, create spaces where grief can be processed? It's a beautiful question. And some of the things that came out of that conversation was the need for us to actually just come back to what is indigenously ours in terms of institutions of healing. That we don't have to turn to something new. We don't have to recreate the wheel if there's already something that has worked and is working and perhaps is the most potent type of healing that's available in the first place. Namely, I contend, the Dhikr of Allah Ta'ala, the full connection and transmission, receiving from Allah, Rabbul Izzah, the thing that we do to connect to something beyond this world and serve ourselves, offer ourselves as a means of channeling something from beyond, the X factor, that thing that can turn the tide. When everything else is hopeless, what do the Muslims always do, regardless of the tradition, regardless of the Prophet, perhaps even, is that we go to Allah Ta'ala. That's what distinguishes the people of Nubuwah, the followers of Nubuwah, the followers of the tradition of the Prophets, alayhim salam, salatu wassalam, is that we connect with Allah Ta'ala first and foremost. That's the distinguishing feature of what we do when we're in crisis, when we're in trauma, when we're backed against the wall, when the ocean is behind us, and army is in front of us. That kind of situation. What do? Ya Allah. We don't sit and have a powwow. We don't sit and talk about the emotions, though that can be very powerful. And I'm not negating that. And inshallah, we'll be doing that later today. But there's something that's even more fundamental and deeper healing that I'm offering. And you see the people on the ground in Gaza and now Lebanon and in the past Syria and actively Sudan and the Chinese Uyghurs and the Congolese and the Yemenis and the Afghans and the Kashmiris. And I mean, what? Is there a handspan on the planet that's not going through something right now? Handspan of land anywhere. In this country, there's oppression. There is something fundamental that we're missing. We're turning to these healing healers, these new age healers, these Western healers, and we're looking for something, this extra added thing, extra added spice that can help us make sense of something and change the tide. I really feel we're missing the meat and the potatoes that's right before us. The rope of Allah Ta'ala, which is the Quran, and the dhikr of Allah Ta'ala, which is min sharul wilaya. It is the testament of wilaya. The dhikr of Allah Ta'ala is a testament of your sainthood, your connection to Allah Ta'ala. That you do dhikr, we know who you are. If you do dhikr, we know who you are. You're from Hizbullah. And I don't mean the group, Hizbullah. We can talk about that later. But you're the Hizb of Allah. You know, where did they get that term from? It's a Quranic term. You have Hizbullah and you have Hizbush Shaitan. You're of the group or the faction, the team of God or the team of Satan, of the devil. And that's what's playing out in real time. Make no mistake about it. You know that and I know that. It's clear for everyone to see. Those who have any humanity left, those who have any intellect, who have clear perception, who have compassion in their hearts when they see babies and rubble and bombs dropping and cries and screams and mothers looking for children. It's Hezbollah and Hezbollah Shaitan. And the minshar, the sign of the people of Allah is that they do dhikr. That's just what we do. And the dhikr is something that we do not only to process grief, we do it to celebrate. We do it to grieve. We do it in fear, salatul khawf. We do it when we're constricted financially. We do it when we're trying to have children. Like anything you need, whether you're saying thank you or please, Ya Allah, it's like we do dhikr. That's the first thing we do. And then we take the means, you know? So there's still room for politics here. There's still room if you're having difficulty conceiving to see a healthcare practitioner and taking the means physically and emotionally to optimize your fertility. But the first thing that we do, and we should be proud about this, and it should be put on the front of every Islamic institutional program for healing, for political engagement, for education, community. It's what makes us who we are. And from there, organically, we can develop our own rituals. And it's just organic, right? It can't be something forced or compelled, or we kind of chop it up in the shop and then, you know, we took it from here, took it from there. It kind of comes out a little bit Frankensteinish. No, it has to be organic and something that comes out over decades and maybe centuries of culture. And the Western Muslim culture is still in its nascency. It's still forming. So we have to not necessarily force a custom out now because we have to be culturally relevant and all this. It's like, no, the cultural imperative is like just do Islam properly as Western people. And you'll find that these rituals will naturally emerge from the hearts, inshallah.